Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to week number 9, the regular season finale of the Esports Racing League presented by Spec Racer Sports, Alliance Autosport, and Grassroots Motorsports Magazine here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Greg Ginsburg along with DJ Clark in the commentary booth and Jonathan Grabowski in the virtual production trailer. And tonight we put a giant crimson bow on the season at a former home of the U.S. Army Air Force, an airfield where B-17 pilots trained to go into battle over Axis skies. It hosted its first race on New Year's Eve 1950. I think that's, if we do the math in my head, I think 73 years ago, or just about. And then soon after, it held the very first United States Formula One Grand Prix. Tonight, the Esports racers take to the country's oldest permanent road course here, and it is a place that the concrete is so bumpy that no Floridian could keep their turn signals from turning off automatically. So tonight we head to Sebring International Raceway. I was trying to make like an old Florida driver joke there. Maybe it didn't turn out so well. So as we've done all season, tonight we'll feature two 20-minute sprint races. First on track will be the Formula 4s, as you can see them right now, followed by Spec Miata. And then we've got the Spec Racer 4 drivers. They wrapped up their regular season last week at Road America, but they will be joining us next week for the winner-take-all runoffs. We'll talk a little bit more about that as the broadcast goes on. And so, welcome back, DJ. I know last week we named the first of our 3 season champions at the National Park of Speed, where it was maybe a little bumpier than normal, but tonight our racers will definitely need to hashtag respect the bumps if they want to be named Season 7 champions.
Oh, they will indeed, as this is a circuit, especially in these IRO 4s, that is really going to catch you by surprise. So many bumps and bruises, specifically as we ride on board here, coming down the Almond Strait and into Sunset. That's going to be the main area that I watch for these drivers to have a whole bunch of problems. If we can actually stay on board here, you'll see as they cut down under the bridge, that is where it is absolutely bump city.
Yeah, and you can see all these sections of concrete, all the seams in between the many different blocks there. You can see as Deacon Greenfield has the rear end of them just kind of just bounce its way across the pavement there. And you know, this track, I mean, it's somewhat famous for, you know, I think we were talking last week about how in real life Road America was getting its very first repave in many years. Well, here at Sebring, I think they pretty much pride themselves on, running that original concrete that made up the runways here for so long and for so many years in the during World War II, and it definitely shows its age. And it's one of those tracks, DJ, where in real life, doing a nut and bolt on the car practically every single session is of a vital importance, that the cars bounce around here so much that they will essentially shed parts. Now we typically don't see that in the virtual world, but as you said, with these very stiffly sprung formula cars, it will definitely create some more challenges than perhaps the Mazda MX-5s, the Mazda Miatas that we're going to see a little bit later tonight.
Yeah, very much so, and drivers are going to have to watch out for it. They're going to have to be very, very sensitive with the throttle inputs in particular. If you try to put on the throttle while you're going over some of those bumps, the rear tires are going to be spinning in the middle of the air, and then when they make contact with the ground, that's actually going to cause them to sort of hyper grip up and spin you out and lose that right end. So you're going to have to be very, very careful about that as we ride on board with Andrew Wozencroft. He's going to bring it down there. There, you can see it, just how big and bumpy that is.
Yeah, and as he comes through, and maybe it's the camera angle there, DJ, but it looked like he had opposite lock dialed in pretty much all the way through the Sunset Bend until he got back onto the front straight. Really, a challenge for these drivers, something that they do not normally see at pretty much any other circuit that they may race on the platform here worldwide. So let's do this. We are now just a little bit over halfway through our 15-minute qualifying session, where our drivers are going to set the grid for our first 20-minute sprint race of the evening. And let's do this. Let's look back just a week ago to our Formula 4s, where they raced at the National Park of Speed at Road America. Jamison Huffman took the win, margin of victory about 3.5 seconds over John Vogel. Deacon Greenfield came home in third position with Justin Huffman, who I believe had won the week earlier in Spec Racer Sport. He came home in fourth place. And so let's take a look now at the championship standings in the Formula 4 cars, or IR04 cars, if you're in iRacing land and don't want to get sued out of existence. Your championship leader, Beans Forster, with 100 points. He currently has a 13-point advantage over Justin Huffman. That's the older of the two Huffmans. John Vogel currently sitting third in the championship. He's got 63 points. That is 37 points out of the lead. But more importantly, he is not the only driver currently sitting in third. It is a three-way tie for third in the championship right now between John Vogel, between Deacon Greenfield, and also Ray Blethen. All of those drivers with 63 points, 37 points out of the championship. And then Mark Sherman currently sitting all alone in sixth position here with 58 points, 42 points currently out of the championship lead. And so Beans Forster, we should recognize, and we were going to talk about this, I think, after we came back from break and got ready for our next race, but Beans Forster already named our Spec Racer Ford Season 7 champion, so congratulations to him. And the one thing that we're going to see, he's sitting at the top of the leaderboard in the two classes that are running tonight as well. So he has the opportunity for the three-peat here. But you can see, much like we saw at Road America in the Spec Racer Fords, and I believe also when he raced in the Formula Fords, DJ, he was playing it kind of safe last week, and I suspect he's probably going to be doing the same thing here again tonight in the IRO4s.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, especially around a circuit as tricky as Sebring is. I think Beans is probably just going to want to sit back, let things come to him. There's unfortunately more than likely going to be a fair share of an incident or two out on the circuit tonight, and I think Beans is just going to be in a position to sort of pick up the pieces when drivers make a mistake.
Yeah, and with Justin Huffman currently running second in the championship, 13 points back, it's not an insurmountable gap here, but I will actually, with only 12, 13, 14 drivers in the field. I think it actually is an insurmountable gap here, but we'll have to see if it plays out. If for some reason Beans Forster has a hardware issue and can't make the grid tonight, there's a chance that he could lose the championship. But you know, we'll wait until the checkered flag comes out on the session here. But right now, Justin Huffman, who's currently qualified 10th out of 14 drivers, only 12 of them having set times. He certainly needs the win tonight in order to have a chance at that championship.
Yeah, he's certainly going to need to be able to try to do that and then hope that Beans will have a little bit of a rough night out there himself. But we'll have to see how that plays itself around. Watching right now, Justin Huffman switching over here to Morgan Burkhardt as he works his way around right now. So interesting to see these open wheelers out at Sebring. I'm so not used to seeing that. I'm expecting to see sports cars out on track.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know how the sports cars are going to work around this somewhat wide track here, but the Formula cars definitely a very different beast. And you know, I think most of these drivers probably have most of their experience at Sebring in the sports cars. Here, many of them I know have raced the 12-hour endurance race here on iRacing many a time, and you know, this is going to be a big change for them. Perhaps the saving grace that they have, DJ, is it's only 20 minutes from green to checker, and it's not going to be saying, whoa, as we see Caleb Patry, our provisional pole sitter, with a little bit of a wiggle there coming out of turn 12, and actually I guess turn 13 coming out of the tower turn onto the Flying Fortress straight. You know, that's they're not going to be gritting their teeth for an entire hour, or you know, or for a long endurance stint that they only have to grin and bear it for 20 minutes or so.
Well, exactly. And the other thing that they have to be a little bit thankful for is that we're doing this in the virtual world as opposed to the real world. So nobody's going to have to go see a chiropractor tomorrow morning after having to deal with all of these bumps.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. Well, you know, like we said, there last week at Road America, there was an issue right after the update to iRacing for the new 2023 season 1 that made Road America very much like Sebring International Raceway. The difference is that iRacing was able to patch that and bring things back to normal here earlier this week. No such luck for Sebring. So we'll see how they make out. But you know, perhaps last week was a bit of a test bed for them in maybe trying to determine some setups.
Yeah, I think it very well could have been in the way that they try to figure out how to handle those bumps. Now, thankfully, I can report that iRacing has fixed those bugs at Road America, so it is back to smooth. As you said earlier, though, no such luck here at Sebring as we ride on board with Antonio Rice right now, bringing that car around here down into one of the trickier braking zones onto the circuit, coming down through Tower. You've got to carry a lot of momentum through there, but you don't have to jump on the binders too hard, but while you do,
and I was going to say, and you can see drivers left on exit there coming out of the tower turn. How many drivers, and mainly in sports cars, used up every last inch of the track there, and then about 6 or 7 feet of the dirt and sand drivers left as well.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to be using everything you can around this circuit. You can see it there coming through turn 1 as we take a look at Effinger right now, just doing a little bit of, I think, interesting driving now that the checkered flag has fallen. Yeah,
with the checkered flag out here on the session, and you know, I just noticed that he drove through the cones. They didn't go flying through the air like they do at, say, Sonoma or many other circuits. That's like an autocrosser's dream right there. All right, so checkered flag is out on the session. I think Effinger, well, we'll watch right now Caleb Patry, who's our provisional pole sitter. He's coming through the sunset turn for the very last time here in qualifying. Big wiggle from him coming onto the front straight. We'll see if he can improve upon the 202.45 that he had in the books previously. And as he crosses the stripe, well, 202.445. Looks like he might have picked up maybe a couple hundredths of a second there. as Beans Forster, our championship leader, completes his last flying lap, and well, looks like we're going to have our drivers heading to the grid here in just a moment here on the front straight. DJ, 14 car field, why don't you take the honors tonight?
I will indeed. Caleb Patrick going to be lining up in pole position by a gap of about 3.5 tenths of a second over Jamison Huffman. Then it's going to be Morgan Burkhardt and Joshua Soto in row 2. Beans Forrester lines up in P5, looking for a calm night. There will be Beans, and then Antonio Rice will be to his outside. Andrew Benno will line up in P7 with Deacon Greenfield flanking him. John Vogel and Andrew Wozencroft will be in row 5. Justin Huffman lines up in 11th, followed by Jeff Andrews with Jochen Effinger and Wayne Buttermore rounding out your 14-car grid.
And as John Grabowski and I were mentioning before the race, you know, there is no way to have Wayne Buttermore without Joaquin Effinger within about 4 car lengths of them, and they're going to start side by side there over on row number 7. All right, so as we, I believe we're still waiting for Josh Soto, for Andrew Wozencroft, and Justin Huffman to make their way on to the grid. And actually I'm seeing a couple more drivers. I think DJ, perhaps some of our drivers second guessing how much fuel they're going to need to get through this race, that we saw them going to the grid, then popping back off, and then coming back on. And we're waiting on Andrew Wozencroft, driver of the number 80 machine, and well, and now Josh Soto leaves the grid for a moment as Andrew Wozencroft is back. And well, I don't know what to tell you, but we'll see here as, oh, and once again, Jamison Huffman coming across his teammate there, Caleb Patry, to start things off. That's an interesting way to keep your competitors from scrubbing tires in. But the pace lap is underway, and it looks as though Josh Soto did not make the grid. Maybe having some internet connectivity issues. We'll have to see if he starts from the pit lane. But as we start to make our way around the 17 turn, 3.74 mile course here on the pace lap, let's talk about our sponsor for tonight's first race of the evening, and that is Alliance Autosport. Based in Columbus, Ohio, they found success both at the club as well as the professional levels, garnering multiple championships, including 8 SCCA National Championships, 3 SCCA Pro Racing Championships, as well as a USF 2000 National Class Championship. Alliance Autosport's team members are dedicated, hardworking, and they know what it takes to win. Alliance is the SCCA Enterprises Great Lakes Division customer service representative for both Formula Enterprises 2 as well as Spec Racer Ford Gen 3, and their services include arrive and drive packages for both as well as for Trans Am 2. In addition, they offer customer car prep, trackside support, transportation, storage, part sales, data analysis, and hospitality, as well as driver coaching and development. To join Alliance Autosport on the winning track, check them out at allianceautosport.com. All right, looks like Jamison Huffman has moved back over to the right lane there. Driver's right as the pace car continues to bring the field down, heading down into the hairpin here. The reworked hairpin, you can actually see that access road that runs a little bit deeper, runs straight down to some chain link fencing. That the old hairpin there, and it's certainly done more in the name of safety than anything else, but has also made that corner, I think, a little bit more difficult over the years as well, DJ.
Yeah, it has. It's really tightened it down a little bit more, made things a little bit more interesting as they try to drive their way on through it. And I think it's actually increased the competition a little bit, trying to dive down into the corner as well, as they work their way now through the sweeping Collier curve here, a very, very tricky part of the circuit to get right. Really got to line things up just right before you get into Jean de Bien here, another very crucial corner.
Yeah, that very tight left-hander, which brings you down to the corner we were talking about earlier, the tower turn, which will bring you onto this Flying Fortress straight. And again, you can see there on the exit how much dirt. Well, actually, I guess we're a little bit further ahead. We've got him on the Ullman Straight now. I'm a couple corners behind, as we've got the longest straightaway here at Sebring International Raceway. He'll let those Formula cars pick up speed so that they can go into the bumpiest section of the track over at Sunset, turn number 17 here in 17 Alpha. As we can see a couple of our drivers still working to get some heat in the tires, maybe get some heat in the brakes. We saw Joaquin Effinger lock up the brakes a little bit as he came onto the Ullman straight in that number 700 machine. But now coming around Sunset, the pace car going to pit in here very quickly, make a move to the right and onto the pit lane. And your pole sitter, Caleb Patry, now has the field as he and Jamison have to come down the straight, and green flag is in the air. And with a great start, the red, white, and blue number 40 machine of Morgan Burkhardt, and he's going to move all the way down to the inside. That's going to be a very difficult proposition as we see Huffman moving all the way driver's right, trying to open up that corner. Rear end very, very loose for Huffman, and we are 3 wide coming down to turn number 3 for the first time, hard under braking. It is still Patry and Huffman. Patry now taking control of the lead as they go into turn 5 and into the big bend. Huffman running in second. Burkhardt now is going to slot into third position, about 3 car lengths back. Deacon Greenfield, and a great start, DJ, for Deacon Greenfield. Moves from 8th at the start, now up into 4th position. And then we've got our championship leader, Deacon Baines Forster, right behind him. Antonio Race and Andrew Benna still battling it out for 6th.
Yeah, here they are on your screen right now. Rice trying to get down to the inside of what will be Cunningham Corner. It's not going to work out for him. He's going to have to fall back into line. Getting a little bit behind as they go down into the corner. Rice just holding this out. You see the rear end of that car wanting to break away a little bit on him. That's partially the bumps, partially these tires still coming up to temperature.
Yeah, and we saw that at the start here as Burkhardt now trying to slot underneath Jamison Huffman, who runs wide coming out of the tower turn onto the Flying Fortress straight. He's going to lose a lot of momentum, and Beans Forster in there now side by side with the or probably that's Deacon Greenfield side by side with Jamison Huffman as they come now down into the chicane into Le Mans, and contact between Huffman and Greenfield as Greenfield goes into the dirt, and it looks like Beans Forster may have either been involved with that or may have gone and to try and avoid. He's now fallen all the way back to 11th position. Let's see if we've got the replay on that. We'll see exactly what happened.
Looks like we're pulling it up now, but Beans now is going to try to work his way forward. Thankfully, I think he's going to be able to work his way a little bit by the 223 here of Huffman as they now dive down into Sunset.
All right, and remember, those are the 2 drivers in the championship lead at the moment. As it looks like Justin Huffman runs wide coming out of 12. Let's take a look at the replay here and see exactly what happened. As our lead 3 drivers were coming into Le Mans, we can see there we've got Morgan Burkhardt, we've got Jamison Huffman. Huffman running wide, losing a lot of pace coming onto the Flying Fortress straight. That opened the door for Deacon Greenfield as they come down through turn 12 and into the chicane, into Le Mans. We see Huffman, he's got the advantage, but he just got a lot of curbing there, DJ, and lost the rear end. Not much that Deacon Greenfield could do, and Beans Forster just had to get on the binders to keep from getting into both of them.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there, in particular with Huffman, what happened is that car actually bottomed out over the curbing at that part of the circuit. That's a very, very high curb. It's got a very high edge to it. It's not like coming here off the hairpin where you can run over it. If you get two tires over onto the left-hand side of it, it bottoms out the car, and there's that sort of super grip-up effect that I talked about when it slams back into the earth.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, you can see right there as Huffman went and popped over some of the apex curbing. Some of the apex curbing here definitely has a large ramp to it, and we could definitely see the cars where they might get high-sided here as we now have Jamison Huffman, who had started on the outside of the front row. He is currently sitting 7th behind the number 80 machine of Andrew Wozencroft. Wozencroft having started 10th, he is now up into 6th position. And might also add Josh Soto, who looked like he left the grid before the race. And now going wide, coming onto the Ullman straight. Jamison Huffman's hard day continues. I was gonna say, it looks like Joshua Soto never made the race, did not start from the pit lane. But we have a new leader, DJ, and it is now Morgan Burkhardt with now 2 laps in the books. He is your new leader.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of cat and mouse, a little bit of leapfrog here between Patry and Burkhardt as they just try to pull away from Benna and Rice behind them. A little bit of side-by-side action there going down into turn one. These teammates, they're looking like they want to put up a fight here, so this may be an actual battle on our hands.
Yeah, we'll see how this plays out here as they already have almost a full 4 seconds over Andrew Benna and Antonio Rice. So they've got a little room to play here if they've been able to open up that much now in just 2 laps. Burkhardt is now back in second position, that red, white, and blue number 40 machine, but he's coming up the outside on Caleb Patry as they go into the hairpin. Patry's going to cover a little bit later on the brakes and heads through. Let's see if we can jump back at that battle for third right now, perhaps. Here we go, as we've got Benna, who started off in 7th position, Rice, who started in 6th. They are currently running 3rd and 4th. And the 914 machine of Rice was looking very strong in practice before we went on air, DJ. But I think we've noted this before. And I think primarily as it relates to the Spec Racer Fords, not to the Formula 4s, but Rice, he puts in some definite flyers in practice and even in qualifying, but perhaps the racecraft a bit of a challenge. We'll have to see how it plays out for him here tonight.
Yeah, we'll have to see if he's able to keep that car going in the right way. Good line there out of Le Mans. That's going to get him a nice draft behind Andrew Benna right now. The question's going to be is if he wants to take it here at this point. He can also do a little bit of fuel save. Well, there he's proven my point for him. He's going to move his way to the inside.
And there's so many lines coming through Sunset. Another as Rice comes underneath Andrew Benna. You see the rear end of that car step out just a little bit on him, but he manages to make his way clear of the number 71 machine, move Rice up into 3rd. And just as we are watching them, and we can see now going down into turn 1, our 2 leaders, but let's stay here for a moment as Benna is trying to bring the heat back. And comes down the inside of Antonio Rice coming through turn 1, and he has position going into 3, and you can see there Rice a lot later on the brakes, DJ, and Benna moved in, turned in maybe a little early at turn 3, but I think that was more of a case of self-preservation than anything else. I think if he'd stayed out driver's right, probably would have had a visitor in his gearbox.
Yeah, I think he would have as well, and he just had to do that for self-preservation, as you said. But look at this coming up behind. John Vogel getting involved in this battle as well, as he could be a part of this. Soto on Wozencroft, if this battle continues on, it could be a 5-car battle before we know it.
Yeah, things are definitely starting to tighten up here. Just past our leaders, Caleb Patry just now retaking the lead for Morgan Burkhardt. But this fight right here, well, yeah, we'll go and take a look here as we've got Burkhardt and Patry getting back around now. This is a great little scrap between these 2 drivers as they now get set up and come down into Le Mans, into the chicane that leads them onto the Ullman Straight, as Burkhardt sitting back behind Patry at the moment. Now the gap to Benna and Rice has now extended out to just about 5.5 seconds, but you'll see those packs coming onto the Ullman Straight as well. Last time we saw it was side by side coming down in the Sunset, and again Patry moving over quickly, drivers right to take a defensive posture coming in the Sunset, turns in early, takes that inside line away from Burkhardt. Burkhardt is going to have to open up the corner, and he's going to follow Patry through, but once again, going to try and undercut him going in the 1.
Well, and the problem with doing that is you're really able to carry so much momentum around the outside of turn 1. Looks like there that the 198 of Patry decided to back off a little bit, but we're going to jump back here to that battle with Rice and Benna, as it looks like that's heating up as well.
Yeah, as Rice turns and sticks the car all the way down to the inside. Looked like he was basically hugging the concrete wall past the apex, and the rear end of the car looked like it was putting up a bit of a fight. As a matter of fact, it looked like, and even from watching our 2 leaders coming through turn 1 just before, lots and lots of compression there in the rear of the cars. Very difficult to keep that back end underneath them. Is now Andrew Benna coming down, trying to outbrake Rice going into the hairpin, and he is going to retake third. And there you go. Look, coming up right on the back of the 914 machine is John Vogel in that Carrier air conditioning machine.
Yeah, doing a good job just holding in behind, trying to see what he's going to be able to get here. Again, this is going to be a race of attrition, as we've seen. If he can just keep himself in the right position here, he's not going to have to worry too much about anything going on. He may just be able to get a good jump on these drivers if they come into contact with one another.
Yeah, and a quick update here. It looks like Jamison Huffman has retired the number 89 machine. Apparently the damage that he took on in that impact with Deacon Greenfield somewhat terminal. Greenfield, by the way, sitting back in 10th position. But yeah, you know, we talked about this a couple laps ago. This is going to turn into no longer a 2 or 3 car battle for third position for that last step on the podium. We've got Josh Soto, who I thought, did I just say a few moments ago that Soto didn't make the grid? I'm pretty sure I said that he didn't make the race. It looked like I thought he was making maybe at least a lap down, but Josh Soto in that red and black number 07 machine, no, he is on the lead lap, and he is only about 6 car lengths, 7 car lengths back from John Vogel at the moment.
The battle intensifies here at this point. Soto doing a great job in putting in a personal best on that last lap of a 2:03.433. As there you see a little bit of squirreliness there for Bennett coming out of turn 1. I think that's just a little early application of the throttle, a little bit too hard on that right pedal, but he's able to keep it under control. Whoa! Big slide through 2.
Yes, it's the slide through there, puts on the little drift impression coming through turn number 3 and 4, and he gets things dialed back up underneath him. But you know, John, as narrow as the track is there in that little section, as you come through 3, and then it switches back quickly to the right for turn 4, and then over a little quasi, I don't want to call it a hairpin, but a very tight number turn 5. Just really nowhere for Vogel and for Soto to go, and you can see now they're kind of bottled up behind the 71 as Josh Soto looks down to the inside of John Vogel, and Soto now takes over the position, so moves Soto up into 5th. Great run there, great move by Soto.
Yeah, really good stuff there from him. Oh, Benna off!
And Benna goes off, goes left into the dirt coming through the tower turn, cuts right back across, and for a moment there it looked like he was going to take out Josh Soto, and just happened to avoid him as Soto now and Rice move up to 3rd and 4th. It looks like Rice actually took advantage of that and got back around Josh Soto. Let's take a look at the 71 machine as he comes down to the tower turn. We'll see exactly what happens. Rear end walks out on him. He gets that correction in, and wow, just missed the back of the 07 machine.
Talk about as close can be there. That was disaster having been written all over it, but somehow able to keep things together. I'm very impressed. And for Soto, he is going to be a lucky camper. But the battle is still on here between Patry and Burkhardt up at the front of the field.
And here we go as we've got Caleb Patry. He is your leader. Morgan Burkhardt running in 2nd. And, you know, DJ, we ought to take a look, and we'll see if we've got it queued up. As we had Andrew Benna go off, we had Rice get around Soto, and then we had Vogel following those 2 through, and then almost immediately afterwards, Rice went off track. Let's see exactly what happened to Antonio Rice, as I believe he's got the car sitting in the pit lane here. He's all by himself going through Le Mans, and as he comes onto the Ullman Straight, he pops over the curbing at the apex. He pops over the curbing on exit on the Ullman Straight and right into the concrete wall.
Oh, yeah, that was just a bit of a hard run there for him, unfortunately, and that's what can happen if you get a little bit too aggressive when you're trying to come up and over those curbs. It's sort of a cascading section. You get into one problem, and it's just going to keep rolling on for you as you go.
Exactly. You try to correct for one mistake, you end up overcorrecting for the second mistake, and inevitably you end up driver's right there, exactly where he was. So Antonio Rice's day is now done. Both he and Jamison Huffman out of the battle here as we have 7 minutes remaining in this 20-minute sprint race. And Morgan Burkhardt once again takes the point, gets around Caleb Patry as they now make their way down the Ullman Straight here on lap, hard to believe it's only lap number 7 as quickly as these drivers are moving, but this is essentially a 2-car fight here for the win, as these two drivers have had a nice scrap throughout the entire race here, and they've opened up a full 7-second advantage back to Josh Soto sitting back in third.
Yeah, they've done a great job to be able to build that gap as much as possible and just keep things going along. And they're putting on a fantastic battle. We haven't really been able to cover as much of it as I think we'd like to, just because it's been so spectacular up and down the rest of the field. But these two just putting on a show in a class of their own in these IRO4s.
Yeah, and you know, Soto now, he's running about the same pace, actually a little bit quicker than both Burkhardt and Patry. Only by about 4 or 5 tenths of a second. He's starting to knock a little bit out of that lead, but you know, the question then becomes, with now 5 minutes remaining, whether or not this constant jockeying for position between Burkhardt and Patry, whether they stand to lose that, you know, whether or not they can hold on to now 6.7 seconds separating them from Josh Soto. And you can see there as they come into the hairpin there, you don't even see Josh Soto in the frame, so quite a while back.
Yeah, I think they're going to be in good position. They've got about 7 seconds on them here at this point, so they're going to be able to have their own little fight here for the rest of these 4 minutes left in this race. But Burkhardt and Patry just absolutely going at it, hammer and tongs here, not showing any quarter in between the two of them. And I think at this point in the race, you may be starting to do a little bit of backwards math here, Greg. I think you want to be in second place by the time you come down the Almond Straight.
Yeah, that is, I think, definitely the key here. You know, and as these drivers are putting down laps just a bit over 2 minutes in length, so we're looking at probably 2 laps remaining here at most. And just as we're seeing here, as we've got Caleb Patry coming to the inside of Morgan Burkhardt, able to take away the entrance into Sunset. And wow, look at the movement on both Patry's and Burkhardt's cars mid-corner as they struggle for grip. They are primarily at the rear of the car, not so much at the front of the car. The fronts look pretty settled, and we'll probably see that again here coming into turn 1. Turn 1 seems to be on exit past the apex, an area where the rear ends of these cars, the way both Burkhardt and Patry have them set up, just doesn't agree with the mechanics. Oh, and contact between Patry and Burkhardt coming out of turn 3, going into turn 4, and both have now exited the session, have gone for the tow back to the pits. And what does that do? From 8 seconds, or actually 7 seconds behind, Josh Soto is your new leader. John Vogel running second, Andrew Benna third. Beans Forster, our championship leader, now up in the 4th. Let's take a look and see exactly what happened as our leaders come through turn 2, under braking going into turn 4, or probably turn 3, and you can see almost immediately on exit there's that overlap, and around, looks like Burkhardt got the rear of Caleb Patry. Around they went. Patry's right front tire, right front wheel disconnecting from the suspension, and Burkhardt having some similar challenges there as well as he hit the wall. But Josh Soto, your new leader.
Yeah, Soto up into the lead of the race. A great performance here from him, up 3 on the day. I think he's going to be pretty pleased with this, and with under 2 minutes remaining now here at this point in a 5-second lead, he's going to be coming to the white flag this time around, and he's going to be in a pretty good position here at this point.
Indeed, as he now has a little bit less than a 5-second advantage over John Vogel running in second. Andrew Benna has managed, and you can see there's Benna coming through Le Mans. He managed to get that car back underneath him, and a good little recovery there for him to move back up into 3rd position. And Beans Forster, I think he's exactly where he wants to be, with nobody within about 15 car lengths of him in either direction.
Yeah, just able to cruise around in 4th place and bring that car home. That's what Beans wants.
Exactly. All right, so coming out of Sunset onto the front straight, across the line to take the white flag. 1 lap remaining here at Sebring for our Formula 4 machines. Josh Soto is your leader. John Vogel running in second. Andrew Benna, Beans Forster, Deacon Greenfield, good recovery for him after that early incident with Jamison Huffman. He is now back up into 5th position. Justin Huffman currently running second in the championship. He crosses the line to start his last lap here at Sebring. He is currently running in 6th.
Yeah, good spaced out field here at this point, and let's not kid ourselves. Even if you are running in clean air at this point, this is still a difficult enough track that this last lap is going to keep you on your toes no matter what happens. Anything could still happen here at this point.
Without a doubt here, DJ, obviously, you can't let your mind wander. And more importantly, and more importantly though, if you're Josh Soto, if you're John Vogel, you can't tense up too much. You can't, go and just, grab the car by the reins and try to muscle it home. This is not the track to do that. You need to kind of keep a loose grip on the wheel and just try to relax, because as soon as you tense up, that is where that combination of bumpy track and perhaps your anticipation can come back to haunt you.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to just let the car be driven on the track. You don't want to overdrive the car like that Joshua Soto almost did. My goodness.
Wow. Yeah, that was definitely a moment for Soto there. As he tried with only about a quarter of a lap remaining to perhaps toss the lead away, but now he's just got one more corner here as he comes into Sunset for the final time, and wow, you can see the car just bouncing all over the concrete there, but Soto brings it all the way up to the edge of the wall, maybe even kisses the wall, driver's left, but he's going to come across the line and taking the win here at Sebring. For our final week of racing in the Ray Sports Racing League, it is Josh Soto, your winner. John Vogel will bring the number 4 machine home in second. Andrew Benna, great finish for him after a challenging mid-race. Benna comes home in 3rd. Beans Forster comes home in 4th, just off the podium. But I think more importantly for Forster is he's doing some donuts there down at turn 1, DJ. He's now got his 2nd championship of the season.
He does indeed, and some well-earned victory donuts here for Beans Forster, burning down the house, as it were. You gotta love to see that if you are Beans, and I think he's going to be very, very pleased to be where he is.
All right, and you can see he's got like the Latifi, or maybe it's Alex Albon there helping him out. Actually, I guess it's Mick Schumacher there. Mick Schumacher trying not to destroy a Haas transmission. I think that was Deacon Greenfield alongside him there, getting some donuts in as well. Hey, tell you what, DJ, while Beans is going and celebrating, and I get the feeling he might be there for a while, let's do this. We've got Andrew Benna and we've got Beans Forster in the green room. Why don't we bring in Andrew Benna, driver of the number 71 machine? He came home 3rd tonight in Formula 4.
Andrew Benna, 3rd place there in the IRO 4 machine. It looked like that was just a race of attrition and keeping all 4 tires on the black stuff.
Yeah, I was coming around, I was chatting with Jeff Andrews, and I'm like, oh, this is a pretty good race. And then I just see, Caleb and Morgan reset to the pits, and I'm like, what's happening right now? These guys are too good to do that sort of thing. And we just started laughing because what else can you do at this point? I had people spinning in front of me on lap 1. I had people spinning everywhere and just happened to get through.
Does that change the way you drive a race at all if you see that much happening in and around you?
Honestly, my mindset going into the race after practice was just go through and get through it, because this track and this car on this build is a very, very tough beast, and it was going to be about survival from the get-go.
Well, good stuff there for you, and we won't keep you too long because we know you got another race to go to, but anybody you'd like to thank for today?
Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys here for providing a great broadcast for everybody at home. I'd like to thank Stevie Ray and the rest of the crew who helped manage the league. And of course, I'd like to thank my parents for giving me a place to stay. And I'd like to thank my school for a great education, helping me set up the car even better.
All right. Well, thank you so very much for joining us. That was Andrew Benna, your third place finisher here today.
Thank you,
All right,
guys.
DJ, let's do this. Let's bring in Josh Soto, our winner tonight in the Formula 4s, and we'll see then if we have some time to bring in Beans Forster as well. Josh Soto.
Josh, a little bit of a surprise victory there for you, I have to say. Tell me your mentality. Is everything kind of unfolding in front of you?
Yeah, just keep up the fast lap times and try to see how far I could catch up and stuff like that. Yeah, just keep up the pace. That's my mentality during the race.
Well, in terms of the battle that you were involved in a little bit earlier on, obviously that coming to a little bit of blows with everybody kind of shaking out around you, were you trying to be a little bit more cautious at the beginning of the race, or was it full bore ahead, I want to get to the lead and just be putting in those good lap times?
Oh yeah. It was definitely cautious around like the first two laps because I guess like the brakes were I had to warm up the brakes or something because I locked a couple of times, but. Yeah, I was just being cautious around like the first two or so laps, and then until I could start to find my pace.
Well, you found it, and you found it well, my friend. Who makes this possible for you? Who'd you like to thank?
I like to thank Fanatec for their awesome racing wheels and things like that, and also my friends and my family. For supporting me.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Josh, and congratulations once again.
All right. Thank you.
All right, there you go. Josh Soto taking the win tonight in IRO4. And a real quick, DJ, let's bring in Beans Forster. We should, I think, acknowledge that he just took home his second championship of the season.
Beans, 2 championships down, 2 championships won. It's got to feel pretty good for you.
I think that's actually 3. I think I'm leading MX5 by 30 points.
Well,
yeah.
Well.
We weren't going to crown you yet. We were trying to let a little anticipation build for later on in the broadcast.
The drama. God, we don't want people checking out halfway through the broadcast.
Well, it makes me feel good. It's pretty cool to actually be able to finish a season, and not only that, but win multiple classes in a season. It's pretty unbelievable.
Well, how does your approach change when you get out here into the MX-5s? It looked like you were just trying to keep all 4 tires in the black stuff and keep things together. Is that the same approach as we see out here for this next race?
Yeah, I'm gonna have fun with this one. I'm not gonna sweat it too much and just have a good time. That's really kind of what I'm after for this race.
We wish you all the luck in the world, Beans. You know the drill. Anybody you want to thank for a championship here again?
I want to thank you guys for making this league what it is, and the awesome broadcast you guys do.
Well, we are more than happy to. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your 2-time, soon to be 3-time champion, Beans Forster.
Don't give it away. That's right, Beans Forster. Congratulations, Beans. We'll see you here in just a few moments.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so let's do this, DJ. I'm afraid to go to commercial because all those people that DJ just told that the fix is in already for the last race might not come back. But let's do this. Let's take a quick break. Let's thank some of our sponsors. And when we do return here at Sebring International Raceway, we'll have our final race of the regular season, the Spec Miatas, the Mazda MX-5s, 20 minutes to the checkered flag. We'll be right back here in just a few minutes with the fall tour of the Esports Racing League. Be right back. All right, we're back here at Sebring International Raceway for week 9, final week of the season here for the Ray Esports Racing League. I'm Greg Ginsburg, along with DJ Clark, and I say it's the final race, the final week. That is not exactly true, DJ. We're gonna be here next week, or virtually here, or somewhere on YouTube, as we've got the Ray Esports runoffs next Tuesday night. We're going to be running from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway at the new road course at Indianapolis, and as opposed to most weeks where we only have 2 races, well, we're going to have all 3 of our classes. We're going to have the Spec Racer Fords join us. We'll have the IRO4s, the Formula 4 cars, as well as the Spec Miatas, and slightly longer races, 25-minute races as opposed to the 20-minute races that we've run during the regular season, but should be a good time. I know, and we've been talking about Beans Forster being your class champions in 2 of the 3 classes. That those runoffs, they are pretty much a winner-take-all thing, and certainly we're gonna acknowledge the winners and the champions, but the season championship, I think, is the thing here in the Ray Esports Racing League. And Beans Forster, he said the fix is kind of in, but he has the chance after tonight to come away with 3 championships.
Yeah, and that'll be a very impressive run for Beans. And it just goes to show you how much talent is behind the wheel of that number 231 car. We are dealing with 3 very different types of machinery here in the MX-5s, the Spec Racer Fords, and the IRO4s. So massive, massive credit there to him. Although right now, he hasn't set a time down here in qualifying. He's got to get a little bit of a move on. We've only got about 6 minutes left.
Yeah, not a lot of time left, but he started mid-pack in the IRO4 race. Had to avoid a pretty big mix-up right in front of him in mid-race, and still managed to finish quite well. Let's quickly here, DJ, look at, since we don't have the Spec Racer Fords running here this weekend, and we mentioned that the championship was wrapped up last week at Road America. We'll just quickly take a look at how that championship finished out, with Beans Forster sitting at 109 points, 17 points up on Jim Brewster, who came home in second, with Justin Huffman rounding out the top 3. Huffman 24 points off of the championship, then with John Vogel and Deacon Greenfield rounding out the top 5. And so if we take a look now and where we stand with the MX-5s. Now, the last time they raced was 2 weeks ago. It was at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, where Ryan Maloney out of the Washington D.C. area, actually it was an all D.C. area top 3 at Laguna Seca, with Ryan Maloney taking, I believe, his very first win in the Ray Esports Racing League, and hopefully we'll see him back for some more races. Doesn't appear as though he's in the field here this evening. He took the win, margin of victory 0.13 of a second over Jamison Huffman. Murphy Nichols, who's here with us tonight, came home in third, with Beans Forster coming home just off the podium in 4th, but didn't seem to hurt Beans all that much, as he comes into the evening with 112 points, a 30-point advantage over Deacon Greenfield. Another 11 points back to Murphy Nichols, and then a great run this season so far by Stephen Blethen. And I know Stephen and Ray's mother is watching this evening, and I want to welcome Trish to the broadcast. And Stephen is only 1 point back from Murphy Nichols, sitting in 4th, and then we've got Jamison Huffman sitting back in 5th position. I think Huffman, who we're watching on board right now, the number 89 machine, I believe missed at least one of the rounds, so that may be affecting things. But right now, here with just about 3 minutes remaining in qualifying, Reed Shannabrook. Welcome back to the Ray Esports Racing League, Reed Shannabrook, who hasn't run with us since last season, I believe. Your provisional pole sitter. He's got an 1100th of a second advantage right now over Morgan Burkhardt in the number 40 machine, Jamison Huffman, who we were watching just a few moments ago in that light blue number 89 machine. Currently your 3rd fastest driver on track with a 226.7, so almost 9/10 off of Burkhardt's times.
Yeah, and I think here in this qualifying session, even more so than we saw in the IRO force, the draft is going to be the key to getting a fast lap around here. No downforce to speak of in these MX-5s, which means you can just tuck up behind another driver, and as long as they don't affect your braking zone, you can take full advantage of them pushing that air out of the way for you.
Indeed, and as we see Andrew Benna going off, coming out of Le Mans, going on to the Ullman Straight, they're over by turn 16. He gets that car back underway, and these MX-5s, they are much more softly sprung than the IRO 4s. Certainly, they're going to soak up the curbing a lot better than a Formula car is going to. They're also going to soak up a lot of the bumps on the pavement here, but you'll watch that is certainly not going to preclude them from having some of the challenges at the most difficult parts of this track, like the turn in for Sunset, mid-track through Sunset, and a couple of the other places here on course as well. But I think it's going to be, between the draft and the suspension setup, a very different race, maybe a much closer race than what we saw in the IRO 4s.
Yeah, I think it's going to be far less scruffy as well, just because you're able to lean on these MX-5s a little bit more. There's almost no give and take that you're able to get when you're talking about those IRO 4s. But as we continue to watch Murphy Nichols, looks like he did improve on that last lap. He's going to be up into fifth place there, as he was actually just bumped down by Antonio Rice, who was able to put down a 226.6.
Yeah, nice run there from Antonio Rice in the 914 machine, as we're on board with him right now as he's making the run down into turn 3. And that's interesting. I guess trying to give deference to Rice there over at turn 3. The driver just stood on the binders and parked the car right before the apex of the corner there. But yeah, good run for him. Jamison Huffman, who we're watching right now, who's getting a nice draft off of his father, off of the 223 machine of Justin Huffman. Jamison currently running fourth in class right now, just ahead of Murphy Nichols.
Yeah, let's see here what he's able to do. Big chunk of the curb there. That's got a little bit of confusion written all over it. Is now the 223 going to spin around?
And I just have these visions of Justin and Jamison having their rigs like mere inches apart from one another, and just like one of them reaching over and slapping the other one in the back of the head when something like that happens. Either that or Dad maybe just getting upset enough that he comes over and pulls the Ethernet cable. One of the two. But for the moment, Jamison's rig is still running, as we can tell here. As we're watching right now, Jeremy Shepard in the number 17 machine, here that black, red, and white number 17, he comes across the stripe, trying to improve upon his 7th place at the moment. Does not at the moment. That last lap, almost 14 seconds off of his previous best of a 228. He threw down a 242. 0.4. Just as we were watching that, Caleb Patry in the 198 machine, maybe looking for a little redemption after what was turning out to be an amazing race with Morgan Burkhardt. And, well, that's not an amazing spin, but Caleb Patry at the moment, your 3rd fastest driver to cross the line.
Yeah, Patry there in that position. Now we're going to jump back here to Mark Sturman, who's going to try to cross over and improve on a 12th best time right now. Going to be good enough to move him up 1 position, it looks like.
Yeah, and just ahead of Sherman, Murphy Nichols in that white number 5 machine moved ahead of Caleb Patry, puts himself now provisionally on the inside of row number 2 for that Smoketown Brewery number 5 machine. As we should have probably mentioned about a minute and a half ago, the checkered flag came out on the session. I think most of our drivers now have completed their final flying laps, and some of them now getting ready, but we should have them gridding up here in just a few moments. It looks like we've still got a few drivers out on track. For example, Jamison Huffman there trying to get some final time in behind the wheel, and I believe we've got at least 1 driver back behind him as well. Still about 4 or 5 drivers on track.
Yeah, still a couple trying to work their way around, including Wayne Buttermore, who's trying to improve right now. Looks like that's not going to be an improvement. He will stay down at the order, not being able to set a time.
Yeah, and we have a number of drivers who were not able to put in times here in qualifying. One of them, Joe Camilleri, in the 06 machine, an H production Volkswagen Scirocco racer in real life, trying to get in a time, and not given that we're now about 2.5 minutes past checker. I don't believe that this is a lap that's going to count, but a lot of drivers did not put in qualifying times here. DJ, Justin Huffman, Beans Forster, Joaquin Effinger, Wayne Buttermore, Deacon Greenfield, Josh Soto, all without a time on the board.
It's going to make for a very interesting back of the grid here, Craig. I can tell you that for sure.
Yes, it definitely will.
Here we look as Rice and a couple other drivers and the number 18 there as well. That's Mark Sherman, just trying to get those last little bits of practice that they can in here before this session is officially done and dusted.
All right, and as we wait for these drivers to finish up, and we'll be bringing you the grid here in just a moment, I want to remind everybody that if you like what you're seeing here tonight, if you've enjoyed the Esports Racing League all season long, please give us a big thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to Apex Racing TV, why not go ahead and click that subscribe button and then click that notification bell to find out all the times that we go live. And so DJ, it looks like we've got the grid starting up here. Let's take a look. I'll take the first half or so with Reed Shannabrook, driver of the number 14 machine. He is your pole sitter tonight from Sebring. Fast time for him, a 2:05.704. Then sitting on the outside of the front row is going to be Morgan Burkhardt, driver of the number 40 machine. His teammate Murphy Nichols, his teammates Murphy Nichols and Caleb Patry, they're going to make up row number 2 today with Antonio Rice in the 914 machine. He's going to start 5th with Jamison Huffman starting on the outside of row number 3 and 6th. Bob Kucera in the 48 machine. He's going to start 7th tonight with Andrew Benna in the number 71 car. He's going to start 8th. Jeremy Shepard and Tom Froling, they're going to make up row number 5, starting 9th and 10th, respectively.
In 11th, it's going to be Mark Sherman, followed by Andrew Rosencroft in 12th place. Then in row 7, it's Rich Green and last time's winner, Joshua Soto. Behind them, it'll be Beans Forrester and Justin Huffman, followed by Joe Camilleri and Deacon Greenfield. And then bringing up the back row of the grid, it'll be Wayne Buttermore and Joaquin Effinger.
All right, so as the pace car now bringing the field 3 wide down into turn 1. Jamison Huffman apparently loves the iRacing pace laps here, as we've got the field on their pace lap, making their way around 17 turn 3.7 mile Sebring International Raceway. Let's talk about our sponsor for our last race of the regular season, and that is Grassroots Motorsports. Built for the true sports car enthusiast, Grassroots Motorsports has one mission, and that's to be your personal guide to the sports car world. Whether it's online at grassrootsmotorsports.com, in print or in person, the racers and builders, the car nerds at Grassroots Motorsports will take you behind the scenes and show you how to make your car better. Along the way, they'll give you a taste of everything else this hobby has to offer, from 1,000 horsepower track monsters to cool street cars built in driveways. They also maintain a collection of staff-built project cars, because hands-on technical articles aren't typed behind a desk, they're scribbled down in the garage. To not only read but become part of the story, head on over to grassrootsmotorsports.com. I think I finally got through that for the first time this season. DJ.
It's only the last round. You've got more time to do it.
Hey, yeah, I'm already starting to practice the Spec Racer Sports spot for next week, because I haven't gotten that one right in like 6 tries. All right, so we've got the pace car now bringing the field down here, and as they come through, and fairly early on in the pace lap here.
Yeah, still relatively early on. Drivers doing a little bit of weaving here and there, and a little bit of gamesmanship going on. I think this is a pretty fun group right now, but the biggest thing for these drivers is they want to make sure those tires are up to temperature by the time they dive down into turn 1. That is going to be absolutely crucial, with just as high of a commitment as that corner is.
Yeah, and so with, we were talking about the updates to the iRacing platform. Primarily, we were talking about it last week. for Road America. Now, one of the changes also with the Mazda MX-5s, the previous build of these cars, there were some big changes in how the tires were modeled, and a lot of the drivers felt that they went from driving a very nice neutral handling car to one that was pretty much on ice all the time, and you didn't get a lot of feel or feedback from what the rubber was doing, and it appears as though we've moved maybe a little bit closer back to how these cars had been before. But our racers here, they've had at most a week to do some testing, to see how these MX-5 handle, to see how these MX-5s handle at Sebring, and this may still be much like for the Formula 4 cars racing at Sebring, a bit of an unknown. For the MX-5 drivers, even ones that have raced many times here before, there may be some unknowns for them, as we've got the pace car now bringing the field through the final corners, through 17 and 17 Alpha. That green number 14 machine of Reed Shannabrook, he is your pole sitter. He's got Murphy Nichols tucked right underneath him. Just to his right is Morgan Burkhardt. Green flag is in the air, and starting to make that run all the way down the inside is the red and white machine there. I think, yeah, let's see. I'm trying to see who that was. I think that was the 17 of Jeremy Shepard. Oh, and running wide, Andrew Benna, and a big pileup right at turn number 1. I think Joaquin and Deacon Greenfield involved, Josh Soto involved, Rick Green involved, Beans Forster involved. Good thing Beans thinks he won that championship. We'll have to check. I think we mentioned Josh Soto. Wayne Buttermore is back there as well. Bob Kucera, Tom Froling, Mark Sherman. And through it all, coming through turn 1, Morgan Burkhardt, he is your leader. We're going to have to go back and watch a replay of that in just a moment. But let's check in on the field. As we've got Burkhardt, we've got Patry and Huffman, your top 3. Reed Shannabrook, who is your pole sitter, he has now been shuffled back into 4th position. Murphy Nichols, who started in 3rd, he finds himself in 5th. We've got Antonio Rice and Jeremy Shepard. Those 7 cars make up your lead pack. You can see off in the distance there, Justin Huffman in the 223 machine managed to make his way through that melee. But what a mess, DJ. Let's see. Let's take a look and try to make sense of exactly what happened here coming into turn 2.
Well, we're focused here on Andrew Benna as he brings the car down. Looks like just a little bit of miscommunication there with the number 48 machine. Or was that the 18 there of Mark Sherman, I think?
It was the 18 of Sherman that got into him on the exit, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was just 2 drivers going for the same opportunity, the same space. I mentioned before that that's a high commitment corner. In these MX-5s, you've really got some problems. That may have actually been Kucera we're hearing there in the 48, not entirely sure.
Yeah, let's take a look, and that may have actually been Kucera. It looked like he may have run a little bit wide, might have, I don't think it's a might have. It looks like he did impact Benna, who was the first of the 2 cars through turn 1, was tracking out drivers left. And yeah, here we go with the 48 machine.
Yep.
And yeah, that's who it was. And then the 48 machine comes across the 17 of I guess, of Shepard, or probably the 18 of Sherman. Then Froling was involved there as well. And wow, you can see the 48 machine is just a twisted hunk of metal. Couldn't even get the left front wheel back down on the ground. Does look as though Benna was. I think Benna probably made out the best of any of the cars in that incident. And he's back on. All right, and it looks like Shannabrook and Caleb Patry, who are running 3rd and 4th, had some issues as both of them ran wide coming out of the tower turn. Patry gets crosswise, and there you go. And our pole sitter into the Armco driver's left, going down the Flying Fortress straight, and the hits continue here, for lack of a better term, DJ, is now both Caleb Patry and Reed Shannabrook out of the race as well.
Yeah, and looking at that replay, I think that was a little bit of incident fixation there. One driver going off, the other just following in their tire tracks there, and unfortunately not able to get it back together. But it just goes to show you, even these relatively underpowered MX-5s, you get out onto the grass, you get out into that slippery grass, there's no grip and there's no telling what can happen.
No, and as you can see there, coming out of turn 13, out of the tower turn, lots and lots of dirt, lots of cars, has spent lots of time that running wide through there. It's very common to turn in early and just misjudge the exit and not get a run out. But looks as though now the 17 machine, who had that very good start and I thought had been caught up in the incident, he is now back out on track. That is Jeremy Shepard, who now finds himself in 4th position with Justin Huffman in the 223 machine, who started 16th. He's now up to 6th. And what do we have here? Jamison Huffman in the 89 machine. I thought maybe he blew a motor, but I think he might have just gotten a slowdown penalty coming through Le Mans.
I think there may have been a little bit of damage there to the front of that car as well. Let's watch. Comes down through Le Mans, clips the curb on the inside. That's going to unsettle the car a little bit, gets onto the outside, and there's that rear tire spin right into the outside wall.
Yeah, that might be the part that I missed. And yeah, right into the wall. It looks like what we saw. We saw the exact same thing in the Formula 4 race a little bit earlier in the evening. But Jamison Huffman now. Let's take a look and see if he's found his way back to the pit lane, or if he's in the pits now. And so we now have, DJ, I believe, 10 of our 20 car field either retired or on the pit lane. And so maybe it's time we go and take a look at the front of the field, where it was on lap 1 a 7-car train. In that battle for the lead, it is now Morgan Burkhardt and Murphy Nichols. Burkhardt, who started on the outside of row number 1, Nichols, who started 3rd, and a distant 6 seconds back. However, having just ran the fastest lap of the race, Antonio Rice in that black with yellow number 914 machine. He is currently sitting in 3rd. And then you can see back behind Jeremy Shepard, Justin Huffman, running about 3 seconds back from there. So big, did I say big gaps here now at the front of the field, as it's seemingly every 3rd or 4th car has now found its way back to the pit lane.
Yeah, everybody really falling into problems here as we take a look at Shepard and Huffman right now. Another relatively close battle. Everything really separating itself out. Everything certainly getting squirrely, as we like to say, in the early stages of the race.
And so what was I saying about the drivers having to do testing and see exactly what the tires were going to be like early on in this race? Well, I mean, obviously we had a lot of drivers that they just found that there was no way to get through turn 1 on that very first lap. But we've seen our share. Just have the cars get away from them here at this very bumpy track, and these cars may have softer suspensions than the Formula cars, but they certainly don't have the aero downforce that the Formula cars do, and they don't have the tires that those cars have as well. And we can see where these MX-5s have just gotten away from a number of our drivers. Now here's maybe a surprise. Started I believe 14th in the field. That's Josh Soto, currently running in 8th position, running all by himself at the moment here, going into the sunset turn. I believe he might have a little bit of damage here, which is affecting his straight line speed. But I guess just to actually be on the track and running, much like Deacon Greenfield, just ahead of the 36 is I guess they've at least won one of the battles. They may not have yet won the war, but just being still being out there, I think is for many of them going to be consolation.
Yeah, certainly. Although Deacon's car certainly looks like it's been through the wars there as
Yes.
that right-hand side and the rear of the car certainly crinkled up here at this point. But now's the stage of the race where you just kind of focus yourself down. You run those hot laps. We heard Josh Soto talking about that in the latter stages of the IRO4 race. I think that's exactly what these drivers are doing here at this point. Just run like it's a normal Sunday drive.
That's right. And so Burkhardt just sets fastest lap of the race at a 2:25.65, about 0.5 of a second faster than Murphy Nichols, who you're seeing is starting to lose a little bit of touch with your leader and may have now fallen out of draft range. But if we then go back from there, I was going to say on the previous lap, Josh Soto was down in the 2:28s. He was running faster than everybody up to Jeremy Shepard in 4th position. The only people running faster were Antonio Rice, Murphy Nichols, and Morgan Burkhardt. So we'll see if he can make up some ground. He's running about 2 seconds a lap faster right now than Greenfield and Effinger, running 7th and 6th, just ahead and up the road, but about 4 seconds separating him.
Yeah, about 4 seconds separating them here at this point. Let's see what they're able to do, though, as they go. That battle starting to close in a little bit here between Shepard and Huffman now at this point as we watch Effinger try to close in on the back. He's got a long way to go, though, to the tune of about 14 seconds. There's that battle with Shepard and Huffman. This one's getting pretty intense.
It is. This is the battle for 4th. Jeremy Shepard starts 9th tonight, now up into 4th. Huffman, who started 16th, finds himself in 5th, and I'm still amazed that he was able to find his way, perhaps by driving by Braille through that mess. Oh, and look at this, Murphy Nichols, and we saw Nichols off the pace there coming through turn 1. He's going to drop now back into 3rd position, giving up 2nd to Antonio Rice. Maybe we can see. Let's take a look. I think we've got the replay queued up. Let's see what happened to the number 5.
All right, so this is coming down into turn 1. Let's see what he's able to do.
Ooh, a little bit of wiggle.
Yeah.
Lots of wiggles.
Just too much speed into the corner there, Greg, and that's enough to send that number 5 spinning around.
Yeah, you could see almost an initial turn in. The car kind of got away from him. He was dialing in corrections long before he even made it to the apex. And past the apex, the rear end just finally walks around on him and he comes to a stop. Didn't impact anything, but loses a position. He now finds himself not only in 3rd, but he's finding himself now. You can see right behind him, he's got that battle between Shepard and Huffman starting to close in on him. We'll see if Nichols can to get back to his previous pace. He had been running almost 2 seconds a lap faster than both Shepard and Huffman. We'll see how long it takes for him to shake the nerves off a little bit and get some of that ice cold water running back through his veins.
Yeah, we'll have to see indeed. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, with that is now given the lead over to Antonio Rice here at this point, although he sits about 10 seconds behind Burkhardt. Rice just needs to drive a good, clean, smooth race here in that 9:14, and it looks like the way he's coming out of Le Mans, he's doing exactly that.
Exactly. Now, Burkhardt running about 2 seconds a lap faster than Rice at this point, but Rice in a good little spot here between he and Nichols, as he's got about a 5-second advantage over Nichols. You can see that lineup of Nichols, then Shepard, then Huffman, and a little bit further back from there, the 700 of Joaquin Effinger, quite a distance back from the 914.
Yeah, and crucially at this point, those gaps are far enough spaced out. It's about 2 seconds, 1.5 seconds, 1.75 seconds. They're not going to be getting the draft off of one another. So that's not going to be helping them to close in. It's all going to be down to the driver here at this point to try to get themselves up ahead.
All right, now when as we were watching that battle, we did have the pink number 73 machine, Wayne Buttermore, in that lineup. He is currently a lap down, running in 9th position. And I believe right now, Buttermore is the last car running on track. Again, running in 9th at 10th through 20th have all retired. Although I say that, let's see here. Oh, I thought maybe Mark Sherman had rejoined the fray. I don't think that's happening.
Now, it doesn't look like it here at this point. I think he is a little bit farther back.
Yeah, maybe he is back out on track there. Yeah, there he goes. Get some repairs done. Mark Sherman working lap 1. And look at that, Tom. We're starting to see a lot of drivers that were involved in that lap 1 incident. DJ finally getting some repairs done and moving on out. Tom Froling in the number 1 machine. He now rejoins the fray. Again, these drivers now approximately 6 laps down. Our leaders getting ready to complete lap number 6. As you can see, Morgan Burkhardt, they're coming onto the Ullman Straight. And again, those two drivers, Sherman and Froling, now working to complete their very first lap here at Sebring.
Yeah, and they're going to find themselves, as we said, about 5 laps down, just trying to be able to get those positions here at this point as we take a look at your leader, Morgan Burkhardt, up at the front of the field, working his way around here. Going to be coming to the line here with just a hair over 5 minutes to go, and with lap times at about 2:25, we'll put that at maybe 3 laps left.
3 laps, yeah.
Math is hard.
I always tell everybody I got into IT because I can't do simple math in my head. I need a computer or a calculator. All right, let's see here. As Burkhardt, now look at that, using up every last inch of the pavement. He is our only driver lapping down in the 25s. That last time by 1.3 seconds to the good, over or faster than Antonio Rice. Rice now 12 seconds in arrears from our leader. Murphy Nichols 6 seconds back from there. So things really spreading out. Although that last time by, Nichols, not quite down to that to the pace that he was running previously. That last time by was in the mid 227s, almost 1.5 seconds off of his previous best lap.
Yeah, here, so as we focus back on Murphy right now, trying to make that close in to the best of his ability. I wonder here at this point if he maybe overcooked his tires a little bit with that run, and that's what's really slowing him down. Look at how much squirreliness is into that car coming down into the hairpin.
Yeah, it may be that he just ran the tires off trying to keep up with Burkhardt in the first couple of laps here in the race. He definitely appears to be struggling to get some front-end bite coming into some of these corners.
Yeah, and I think that's there, as you see, just how much he's really having to control the car. Let's watch it as it comes out of it. Now that looks pretty smooth there for Murphy, so that's going to be good for him. Let's keep an eye, though, coming up the road here into Tower. Let's see how he handles this. Little bit of that squirreliness. Yeah.
You can see that the front end didn't take its set, and the rear end started to want to maybe lead its way through the downward turn there, as he had to dial in a quick little opposite lock to get the rear end underneath him. So definitely not looking like an easy drive for the number 5 machine here, with just now probably as Burkhardt's going to be coming down into sunset, probably 2 more laps to go.
Yeah, I think that's what it's going to be here at this point. Comes down through sunset, 3 minutes on the clock. And by the way, Burkhardt's last lap was the fastest of the race with a 2:25.37. Going to cross over here to take that 2 to go mark from Barney the Flagman. Still a very quick lap down into the 2:25s.
And you can see there where he's getting a nice little drift through the corner. But the car never really looks upset, DJ. Just a nice smooth run there as he's trying to open up these corners as much as possible, using the curbing when he can to open up the entrance and open up the exit, and just really maximize his speed through the corners.
Yeah, doing a great job keeping that car normal. If you see an MX-5, it's sort of like the old adage on Top Gear. If you see it looking like it's driving slow, that means it's driving fast. You don't want to be driving this car on the ragged edge that just scrubs speed.
All right, as we now watch here coming down into the hairpin, and Nichols starting to make up a little bit of ground on Antonio Rice. I don't know if there's going to be enough time, as there's about a 4-second gap between the two drivers that last time by, though. Nichols almost a full second faster than Antonio Rice, but you can do the math. 1 second faster, 1.5 laps to go, doesn't equal 4. Even this guy here who can't do simple math in his head managed to do that with his fingers and toes. So so it's going to be a hard run for Murphy here, but continues to be it continued on with a nice battle there until it wasn't, with Shepard and Huffman back behind Nichols. It looks like Shepard now has managed to firm up that advantage over Justin Huffman. Shepard currently just off the podium.
Oh, and we've got a little bit of a battle here out on track, as this is Greenfield, and I believe that is Effinger he's fighting with.
Indeed, it is the 700 machine, and it's the 36 of Deacon Greenfield. This right now is the battle for 6th position. Greenfield having made up 12 positions since the start. Effinger 13 positions since the start, and they're coming up right behind. Well, actually, I was going to say coming up right behind them is the 07 machine of Josh Soto. As we now have the white flag in the air, Morgan Burkhardt working his last lap here at Sebring in the very last lap of this season 7 regular season.
And we're hearing that Antonio Rice is coming down pit lane here, Greg.
And there he is. And I'm wondering, we saw cars, popping in and out of the grid, and I'm wondering if perhaps Antonio Rice didn't think he could make the final 3.7 miles around Sebring here and wasn't going to have the fuel, but he is into the pit lane now, and he is now back out. And I don't believe we do have penalties and drive-through penalties for drivers who accrue more than 12 incident points, but I don't believe Antonio Rice has any incident points here. I think he just took a splash of fuel and so he could get to the end.
Yeah, I think that's right, and that's going to deposit him back down in 5th place, coincidentally exactly where he started the race.
And so that now moves Jeremy Shepard up into the last podium-paying position here. Justin Huffman in 4th and about 2 seconds back. And you can see here now Deacon Greenfield. He has to contend with Josh Soto in that 07 machine. Soto had been slowly but surely working his way up. Now side by side, under braking, going into the hairpin with Greenfield, and Greenfield's really going to pinch Soto down, but Soto manages to open things up on the exit of the hairpin as they come through Fangio, and Soto now with a briefest of advantages over the 36 machine, as they are now side by side coming into turn 10.
Drew Cunningham here, and now it's going to switch back and favor the number 36 for the moment before it works back to the left here again. Oh, and there he's got it.
All right, and coming through turn 17, through Sunset for the very last time, and taking the checkered flag here at Sebring, and the win in our final MX5 race of the season, Morgan Burkhardt, your winner. Last lap of the race is fastest. And we'll have Murphy Nichols, I believe, worked his way back up in the 2nd place as Antonio Rice went for that splash and go. We'll see if he can come across the line. But let's watch this battle for 7th position, actually the battle for 6th position, as we've got Deacon Greenfield now trying to get around Josh Soto here on the last lap. Going to try and use that draft, and it looks like Wayne Buttermore had some issues there coming onto the Ullman Straight for the last time here. Got a little bit of wall, but let's take a look. Coming around Sunset, Greenfield comes right up to the back of the 07. Can he find a way through? Coming underneath the start-finish bridge? No, he cannot. So Murphy Nichols will finish 2nd. Jeremy Shepard will come home in 3rd. Justin Huffman finishes 4th. Antonio Rice finishes 5th. And in the battle we were just watching, Josh Soto manages to hold off Deacon Greenfield for 6th. Joaquin Effinger will come home in 8th. And then we've got Wayne Buttermore, even after that impact with the wall on that last lap. He comes across the line. He finishes a lap down in 9th. And then we've got Mark Sherman and Tom Froling, who working lap number 4. You know, had that lap 1, turn 1 incident. Spent quite a bit of time on the pit lane, but they persevered. They came out. They finished the race and took the checkered flag. All right, so let's see here. DJ waiting. Don't have any of our drivers in the green room as of yet, but congratulations to Morgan Burkhardt. And I don't think he's in the session any longer. So likely we're not going to have him in here for another interview. But let's go and congratulate Beans Forster, who came into this race with a 30-point advantage, and that no matter how bad you are at doing math, there's no way I can mess it up. There is no way for our drivers to beat that, especially since our race winner only gets 25 points. All right, let's see here. We've got sitting in the green room. We've got Deacon Greenfield. We haven't talked to Deacon actually, I think we talked to Deacon last week, but let's do this. Let's talk to Deacon Greenfield. Had a pretty interesting race here, pretty challenging race, especially at the end with Josh Soto finishing 7th tonight at Sebring.
Certainly did. Deacon Greenfield, talk me through, let's start at the end here. Great battle there with Josh Soto.
Yeah, really great battle. Had some damage on the car after that first lap, so just really tried to focus on damage limitation.
Well, and obviously just sort of an unlucky victim in that big coming together on the first lap. How did that change your approach to the race? Were you just trying to sort of get to the end, as you said?
Yeah, with the championship on the line, I really was just finish the race and pick up whatever points I can. So hopefully 7th is enough to hold off 2nd.
Well, I don't have that math in front of me right now.
I do here. So second place. Let's see, second place, which is what Murphy came in, got 21 points. 7th, let's see, 21, 18, 17. Let's see, 25. I think you would have made 14 points to his 21. So that's what, 7-point difference, and there was an 11-point gap coming into the evening. Congratulations, Deacon. I think you may have came home in 2nd.
Oh, all right. I've never had a Ray Esports championship podium, so that's really great.
Well, fantastic. Congratulations, Deacon. Anybody you want to thank for a 2nd place in the championship?
Yeah, I want to thank Ray for putting on the race. I always want to thank the whole league for putting on a good show. It's always a great time, and my parents for helping me do this, and the WDCR SCCA.
Well, fantastic. Deacon, thank you so much, my friend. Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. Deacon Greenfield, driver the number 36 Mazda MX-5, Mazda Miata, whatever we're calling it this minute. Let's do this, DJ. I've got both Murphy Nichols and Morgan Burkhardt, our winner, sitting in the green room. We're at 10:30. Tell you what, let's bring in Murphy Nichols, finishing 2nd tonight here at Sebring, and I believe finishing 3rd in the MX-5 championship.
Yes, indeed. Murphy, let's start with the race itself. Able to get through the calamity at the start. Was it just a matter of keeping all 4 tires on the black stuff out there?
Yeah, that was definitely the big key of it, was making sure not to get any incidents on the start. It kind of helped me because I knew my biggest goal was to beat Deacon. I didn't know how much I had to beat him by. It kind of helped me that I was starting 3rd and he was starting all the way in the back, and he kind of got collected in the incident. So on one hand, he's my friend. I feel bad to see that happen, but on the other hand, it was good for me. And then I know I had one little spin going through turn 1 that cost me a little bit. I thought it would cost a lot more, but to see Antonio pit kind of got that spot back. I don't really know why he pit, but a spot is a spot, and like you guys said, keep all 4 tires on the black bumpy stuff, and cruise home to 2nd place.
Well, as we kind of turn our attention now to the runoffs next time out in Indianapolis, what are your goals for that? What are you hoping to be able to pull away?
I think definitely a decent position or decent finish. I know my caliper versus everybody else in this series, and I think a win would be awesome, but I also understand that some of these guys are just faster than I am. So even if I get like a podium in the runoffs, that would be awesome for me, because I know that would be a good finish versus how everybody else is. And yeah, may take a little bit of luck, but it also takes a good driver behind the wheel. So, which, I mean, I think I am that.
Well, I'd have to agree with that as well, Murphy. But anybody you want to thank for the run here tonight?
Thank you guys, first of all, for putting on a really good show, as always. Thanks, guys, at ASR. Thanks, my family, my girlfriend, Kate. And a big shout out to the guys at Fourth Dimension Fun Center up in Frederick. Love those guys. Big shout out to Smoketown. And my old buddy Jim for hooking me up with some old Nissan.
Big ups to Jim Schlechter. There you go.
Yep.
All right, everybody. That is Murphy Nichols finishing second tonight at Sebring in the MX-5. So let's do this, DJ. Let's bring in tonight's winner, driving the number 40 Mazda MX-5, Spec Miata, Morgan Burkhardt.
Morgan, another victory on the season for you. It looked like you had it pretty much all to yourself there, bar for a little bit of competition from Murphy Nichols.
Yeah, I mean, it was really interesting. I got kind of lucky on the race start with kind of a 3-car push into the lead on that one with Caleb and Jameson behind me, and then pretty much from there the theme song would have been Another One Bites the Dust. So I just kind of went out and drove, and then looked in my mirror, and suddenly everybody was gone. And yeah, congrats to Murphy. He kind of held on there for a bit before, I think it was a VR issue or something at turn 1, and then just kind of checked out and just drove laps from there.
Well, you did a heck of a job, and I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Murphy before him. What are your goals? What are your expectations coming into the runoffs next week?
I'd like to. It's a tall order, and I don't know if anybody's done it yet. I don't think anybody has, but I think a stretch goal would be to do the 3P next week. I think it's at Indy, so that's a goal. Expectations, I don't really have any. I just kind of want to go out and have some fun.
Well, I wish you all the luck in the world, my friend. Anybody you'd like to thank tonight for this victory, though?
The rest of the team, Murphy, Deacon, Caleb, Jameson, I think it's everybody that showed up tonight. But yeah, for sure the rest of the team. My parents, of course, for supporting me and making all of this possible, and the wonderful broadcast crew we have here at Apex Racing.
Morgan, you are far too kind. But that was Morgan Burkhardt, your victor here today.
And birthday boy, Morgan Burkhardt. Happy birthday, Morgan. Happy, like, 12th or whatever it is for you. And there you go, Morgan Burkhardt. yeah, come back and tell me that in 40 years. All right, there you go, Morgan Burkhardt, your winner tonight here at Sebring in the MX-5s. And as DJ mentioned, we've got one final outing of the season, and that is the Ray Esports runoffs next week at the brand new, shiny new Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course. We're gonna have all three classes. We're gonna have the Formula Fords, we're gonna have the Spec Racer Fords, and as well as the Spec Miatas, all racing in Indianapolis. Big change, however, you know, obviously mark your calendar. It's gonna be next Tuesday night. But set your alarm clock as well. We're going to be on air 1 hour earlier. Going to be on air at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Again, that's 8 p.m. Eastern time. And going to have 3 25-minute races to the checkered flag. And so for DJ Clark, for John Grabowski, I'm Greg Ginsburg. We'll see you next Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Everybody have a wonderful week.